Good morning, my dear students. I hope you all are keeping well and please be safe. So, today we are going to discuss Chapter 12 Reproduction in Plants. Class 7th, Subject Science. What do you mean by reproduction? The process by which new individuals are produced from their parents to maintain the continuity of their species on earth is called reproduction. That means on the earth, human beings, animals, plants, everyone is existing. So if human beings doesn't produce their own offspring means nothing but their own species or the image of their own child or plants, like mango tree, from the mango seed again the new mango tree is coming, like cat is giving birth to kitten. The same way, all these species like human beings, plants and animals, they are producing their species, new individual is known as reproduction. Reproduction is defined as a biological process in which an organism gives rise to young ones, means they are giving their young one. So the child, when it grow, it becomes like their parents. The kitten, when it grow, becomes cat. They like its own parent. The same way, the offspring grow, mature, and in turn produce new offspring. Thus, there is a cycle of birth, growth, and death. So, first offspring means the new individual, the young one. It get matured, in turn to produce new offspring. Then after that, it will become old and it will die. Reproduction enables the continuity of the species generation after generation. So, generation by generation it will reproduce. Modes of reproduction in plants. So, there are two kinds of reproduction. One is asexual reproduction, the other one is sexual reproduction. First one is asexual reproduction. So, in asexual reproduction, there are four types are there. First one is vegetative propagation, budding by leaves, by subaerial stems. Four things: vegetative, budding, by leaves, by subaerial stems. By vegetative propagation, it goes by two methods. One is natural method, the other one is artificial method. Natural method. Natural method means by roots, by stem, by leaves, by subaerial stems. Artificial means cutting, grafting, layering, tissue culture. Cutting itself, it has two: root cutting, stem cutting. So, asexual reproduction in plants. Asexual reproduction involves only one parent, either it can be male or female. Asexual reproduction in plants happens through various ways. The process of reproduction from the vegetative parts of a plant is called vegetative propagation. Means there is any plant. So in that plant, any part of the plant can reproduce their young one is known as asexual. That means no sexual contact. No male and female will join to produce the young one. So, vegetative propagation is a mode of asexual reproduction in plants. A bud is developed in any part of the plant, such as it can be in root, stem, leaf, that grows in a new plant. Vegetative propagation occurs by natural or artificial means. Vegetative propagation by natural means. Vegetative propagation through roots. The roots of mint and sweet potato bear adventitious buds. When such roots that bear buds are planted in the soil, new plant come out. Can you find out some more such plants that propagate through bud bearing roots? You have to search in the net. Vegetative propagation through stems. So first one, they have given example of sweet potato and mint. Just a small piece of root, if we cut and keep, then the new plant will come. The same way here also in sweet potato also, just we have to pluck it and we have to keep the bud which comes a new plant. Next one, we are going to see vegetative propagation through stems. A potato is a swollen underground stem tube that you have studied in previous class, 6th class also. Terminal buds like eyes that appear on the tube give rise to new plant. So if you buy and keep potato for a long time, a new bud will come. So from that new plant also will come. When you cut potato into 4 pieces, so you can make it as 4 plant. Vegetative propagation through leaves. In some plants, many buds appear along the margins of their leaves. When a mature leaf carrying buds fall on the ground, many plants grow from these buds. For example, Birophyllum. In case of African violet, if a leaf is plucked from the stem right from the base of the petiole and planted in moist soil, new plants will grow from the leaf surface. Vegetative propagation through stems growing horizontally on the ground. In some plants such as strawberry and chrysanthemum, some lateral branches arise from the buds on the axis of main plant. These creep on the ground and gives rise to new baby plant from their nodes. So, if you take your textbook, page number 146, the pictures they have given. When you see that picture, you can understand easily. So, Bryophyllum at the tip of the margin, new leaves are arising. So, when it falls, the new plant arises. Here, chrysanthemum, here also on the root and the branch of the leaf, there are many roots comes, adventitious roots. So that if we cut and keep, new plant will come. So now we are going to see about artificial method of vegetative propagation. Already we have seen cutting, grafting, layering and tissue culture. First one is cutting, means in this method, stems are cut into small pieces and planted in the soil. Roots come out from the base of the cut stems and develops buds which grow in a new plant. For example, sugarcane, hibiscus, rose and most of the crotons, means ornamental plants. It never gives flowers, only plants itself a variety of color bears and it gives beauty. So those plants, just we can cut the stems into small pieces and when we keep in the soil, it comes as a new plant. Grafting. Grafting is the transfer of aerial parts of a plant, example bud or twig, onto the root or trunk of a different plant of the same species. So a bud of a plant is selected. Any plant you have to select. The bark of another tree of the same species is slit into a T as shown in the figure. Just if you see page number 147, grafting. So the trunk they have selected, a small pieces also they will cut, inside they will fix it. The selected bud is placed at the T point of the second plant and tied firmly with the straw or hay, string or bark of the tree. After some time, the bud will grow into a shoot. The upper part of the old plant from where the shoot of the bud arises is removed or cut. Grafting is done in plants such as rubber plant, apple tree, etc. So some tree will bear big fruit. Some tree will bear sweet fruits. So both just by grafting, both they can have the hybrid. Hybrid means it's not a real one, natural one. By artificial, by joining two species we get hybrid. Layering. In this method, the lowermost branch of the plant is selected. A part of the horizontally grown branch is buried under the soil as shown in the diagram. Water is given from time to time. After some days, small roots arise from the buried part of the plant. After the root is grown, it is detached from the main plant and it grows as an independent plant. For example, jasmine, bougainvillea, etc. So just one tree is there. That branch we are taking and keeping in the mud for a long distance. So we are hiding with soil. After some times that leaves will go down and it will have roots. It becomes roots and it will become a new tree. This is known as layering. Already we have seen there are two kinds of reproduction. One is sexual and another one is asexual. So what are the differences between sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction? Let us see. Sexual reproduction, two parents are involved. Asexual reproduction, only one parent is involved. Sexual reproduction, fusion of a female and male cells gametes. So female cells and male cells, by the process of fusion it becomes a gametes. Here no gametes are produced. In sexual reproduction, parent and offspring are not identical, means they look similar. Asexual reproduction, parent and offspring are identical. Here the process is slow. Here in the case of asexual, the process is very fast. Variation is present in the same species. Here no variation. So this is a summary of reproduction and asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. So here budding we have seen. No, budding we are going to see. A small bulb-like cellular outgrowth called bud is formed on parent cell that develop into an independent organism. Example, yeast. In yeast, the budding is taking place. In this method of asexual reproduction, a small bud appears on the body surface of the parent body. It grows like a baby of the parent on its body surface. Then it gets detached and leads an independent life. For example, yeast. So from the parent, the body is there, inside that nucleus will be there. So when it divides, it becomes a new bud. After sometimes it will detach, means go away from the body, fall away from the parent body and it becomes new. Example is yeast. Fragmentation. Example is spirogyra and fungus. In this method, a small part of the plant body gets separated from the parent body. If a nucleus is present in the cut part, it has the ability to grow into a new baby plant. Example, spirogyra. Third one is spore formation. In this method of reproduction, hundreds of spores are formed by the parent body. These spores float in the air. When they get settled on any surface containing food and water, the spores germinate and grow into plants. For example, bread mold and fern. So here what they are telling, hundreds of spores are formed by the parent body. After that, these spores float on air, anywhere it can go. So where they get settled on the surface, when it is getting food and water, then it start to germinate, grow into new plants. For example, bread mold and fern. Next one is tissue culture. Tissue culture, it is the technique in which a small piece of plant body is cut from the plant and then transferred to the test tubes containing nutrient medium. This nutrient medium contains hormones which help in cell division. So nutrient medium means nothing but the medium which contains hormones which helps in cell division. The tissues absorb nutrients and grow into a small piece or the callus, which is transferred into another test tube containing fresh nutrient medium. So these tissues will absorb nutrients and grow into a small piece or the callus. The small piece is known as a callus, which transferred into another test tube containing a fresh nutrient medium. After some time, small baby plants arise from the callus. It is also called cloning. So this is known as tissue culture. So here already we have seen tuberous roots of Jalia, sweet potato and asparagus. So through the root how we reproduce the same species. Leaves. Artificial method, cutting, grafting. Layering. So this is the layering method. And here tissue culture. Next one we are going to see sexual reproduction in plants. Sexual reproduction is the process in which two parents, one male and one female, are required to produce offspring, the young ones. You may recall the parts of a flower that you have learned in class 6th. A flower has 4 parts or oles. They are calyx known as sepals, corolla known as petals, androecium known as stamens and gynoecium known as carpel or pistil. Calyx, sepals is green in color and protect the petals in bud condition. So here they have given all the parts also. Corolla, petals, is generally brightly colored and sometimes fragrant, which makes the flower attractive. Petals usually attract the insects. Next, third one is androecium, stamens, and gynoecium, pistils, are called the reproductive parts of the plant. So here male and female. Androecium is a male part of the reproductive plant and gynoecium is the female reproductive part of the plant. Androecium is the male reproductive part and gynoecium represents the female reproductive part of the plants. In some plants, flowers do not bear all the 4 whorls. They have either stamens or pistils. These flowers are called incomplete flowers. The plant which have only one either male or female parts is known as incomplete flowers. Flowers that have only stamens or only pistils are called unisexual flowers. For example, papaya, cucumber, corn, etc. They have unisexual, only one sexual reproductive part they may have. Flowers in some plants bear all 4 whorls. Such flowers are called complete flowers. Flowers which contain both stamens and pistils are called bisexual flowers. For example, mustard, rose, China rose, gulmohar, etc. Observe the diagram of a stamen. You will find a swollen part with the 2 lobes at the tip called anthers. Each lobe of an anther contains numerous small yellow-colored powdery grains called pollen grains, which produce male reproductive cells or male gametes. The pistil bears swollen part of the base called ovary, a long neck called style, and the stigma at the tip of the style. The ovary bears one or more ovules. The female gamete or the egg is formed an ovule. So page number 149, they have given different parts of a flower. If you see, pollen grains, yellow color, small small substances, and downside ovary. Inside the ovary, one or more ovule are present, and here style, the lengthy one, and stigma at the top of the flower. So all these things they have explained clearly. Now we are going to see about pollination. What do you mean by pollination? The process of transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma is called pollen grains. So from the anther to stigma, when it is transferring, is known as, the process is known as pollen grains. So matured plant flowers are there. First you can see. So how they get pollinated from one flower to next flower. After that they will get fertilization. They will have fertilization. After that they became fruits. From the fruits we get seed. From the seed again we get new plant. This is the cycle of pollination. This already we have seen all these things. Here you can see reproductive organs in flowering points. Stamen, this yellow color. Carpel means female organ. Anther, what is anther? Filament, style, stigma, ovary wall, ovule, everything. Pollination. Transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of a flower is called pollination. Pollen grains as seen under the microscope. So how the pollen grains are seen under the microscope. So insect pollinated, wind pollinated. There are two kinds. Have a large colored petals with guidelines. Here wind means have a small green petals, no guidelines. Here a smell, here no smell, wind pollination. And have a nectary on which insects feed. Here no nectary. Have a sticky stigma for pollen grains to stick on it. Here have a feathery stigma to catch a pollen in the air. The female and male organs are enclosed in the flower. Here the female and male organs are hanging outside the flower during the wind pollinated. Pollen grains are larger with spikes to hold on insect body. Here pollen grains are smaller and lightweight to be carried by wind. These are the differences between insect and wind pollinated. So the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of the flower may be by insects also, or by wind also, water also, etc. There are two types of pollination. One is self-pollination, the other one is cross-pollination. Pollen grains are transferred from the anther to the stigma of the same flower is known as self-pollination. Here, pollen grains are transferred from anther to one flower to stigma of another flower of same kind. Means different plant but same flower. It is known as cross-pollination. So here you see self-pollination. Here cross-pollination, different plant. So this pollination can be done, means taken place by water also. Pollen grains are released into the water or carried out by water current to the other flowers. Aquatic plants such as seagrass and vallisneria, so they are getting pollinated by water. Insects. So already we have seen sweet smell, brightly colored petals. Example rose and sunflower. White light green petals for nocturnal insects, jasmine and cacti, rich in nectar. Next one we are going to see about seed dispersal. And one more thing, fertilization here. Fertilization is the fusion of male gamete and female gamete to form a zygote. The zygote develops into an embryo inside the ovule of an ovary. So first one, here fertilization, how it takes place. Female sex cell, pollen tube, stigma, pollen grain, and page number 150 if you see, you will find nicely how the fertilization takes place. So the pollen grains get inside the female sex cells into the ovule and it get fertilized. Formation of a fruit and seed. So ovary becomes fruit. Ovary wall became fruit cover. Ovule become seed during the process of fertilization. After fertilization takes place in the ovary grows into a fruit. The ovary wall forms the fruit wall. That means the fruit is the ripened ovary. The ovules inside the ovary become seeds. The seed contains an embryo, that is the future baby plant. Inside the seed, that is an embryo, which is a future baby plant. Seed dispersal. A plant produces many fruits. Each fruit may contain one or more innumerable seeds, means many seeds. Like a guava, if we take innumerable seeds. Mango, if we take a single seed. If they all fall under the same tree and germinate to produce baby plants, will they all able to survive? No, because all the baby plants will grow in clusters in fight for food, space, sunlight, etc. Each plant, if they want to grow, they need sunlight, food, space, etc. So they will fight for that. It is very important to disperse these seeds at various places. The process by which the seeds get scattered at various places over a large area is called seed dispersal. It takes place through various agencies such as wind, water, and animals. Seed dispersal by wind. Some seeds have hairs over their seed coat, as in cotton seeds, oak. Some seeds have wings such as drumsticks and maple, and yet other seeds are very light such as those of grasses. These seeds, being light and winged, are carried away by the wind to distant places, and where it deposited or where they settle, it becomes a new plant. Dispersal of seeds by water. Some seeds such as coconut have a fibrous outer coat that helps them float in water. Such seeds are thus dispersed by water. Seed dispersal by animals. Some spiny seeds are dispersed by animals. They get stuck to the fur coats of stray animals whilst they pass by. Sometimes animals eat fruits along with the seeds. These seeds, having hard seed coat, cannot be digested and are excreted out along with their feces. So, like birds, they are eating fruit a tree. So after that it goes to different places. When they excrete, some seed coat are very strong. Henceforth they can't digest. So when they excrete into different places, there the new plant arise. Dispersal of seeds by explosion of fruits. Some seeds are also dispersed by bursting of their fruit and maturity. For example, castor seeds and okra or ladyfinger. Like a seed. A seed contains the following parts: seed coat, seed leaves or cotyledons, embryo. Seed coat known as protective layer, seed leaves or cotyledons known as food reserves, embryo known as baby plant. A seed is covered with the seed coat, which has two layers for protection. In addition to the cotyledons, food reserve for embryo. The seed contains an embryo. An embryo has tiny root called radicle and a tiny stem called plumule. When these structures start to grow, they use some of the stored food in the cotyledons. The radicle grows into a root that begins absorbing water and minerals. This plumule grows into a shoot that produces leaves. Once leaves are formed on the stems, they start making their own food through photosynthesis. So from the seed, how the baby plant, new plant arises. Seed coat, plumule, and cotyledon. So till the stem arises cotyledon, it gives food. After that, the plumule becomes leaves and stem. Then it start to prepare food for the plant. When the leaves are mature, then the leaves will start to prepare food by the process of photosynthesis. Germination of seed. When seeds get food, water and warmth, the embryo begins to grow at the seed sprout. The development of seedling from the seed is known as seed germination. So from the seedling, when the seed arises, then it is known as seed germination. Essential condition for germination of seeds. The first one is moisture. Dry seeds contain 8 to 15% of water, and as long as they are kept dry, they will not germinate. It is essential that water be available in adequate amounts for germination, enough amount. Next one is temperature. An optimum temperature is necessary for germination, and this varies with different kinds of seeds. The favorable temperature for the germination of the most seeds is between 25 degrees Celsius and 30 degrees Celsius. Third one is oxygen. All seeds need oxygen for germination so that energy may be released by respiration. Fourth one, light. In most seeds, germination is not affected by the presence or absence of light. However, light is essential for the germination of some kinds of seeds such as lettuce, celery, tobacco, etc. So, for the essential condition of germination of seeds, if the seed should get germinate, then it should be moisture and it should have a proper temperature and it should get oxygen. At last, a particular seeds like lettuce, celery and tobacco, they need light also. So dear students, today we have finished chapter 12, reproduction in plants. So what do you mean by reproduction? The process by which new individuals are produced from their parents to maintain the continuity of their species on earth is called reproduction. So there are many ways to produce. One is sexual, the other one is asexual. Asexual, there are natural method, artificial method, like by roots, stems, leaves, subaerial stems, cutting, grafting, layering, tissue culture, by root cutting, stem cutting, etc. etc. So all these things we have seen. I hope you might have understand. If you have any doubt, you can call me when we will meet with Google Meet class. Thank you. Have a nice day.